Okay, so let's look at the first one. Well, I don't think that the fact of keeping developers busy is really one of the highlights or the main benefits of iterative approaches. Developers are normally pretty busy without any need for additional help. So I will just not mark this one. The second one, conversely, is definitely one of the advantages of iterative approaches. So the fact that iterative approaches give developers early feedback is a great advantage, which has in turn additional advantages. For example, it increases the project tempo, so it keeps the developers not busy but more focused. It's easier to be focused when you have a short-term kind of deadline or a short-term goal rather than a release that is planned in 6 months or even later. Another advantage of this early feedback is the fact that developers are rewarded for their effort. So there is sort of an immediate reward because you can see the results of your effort instead of having to wait a long time to see such results. And last but not least, the fact of getting early feedback also minimizes the risks of developing the wrong system. So why is that? Well, because getting early feedback will also allow us to find out whether we're going in the wrong direction early in the development process rather than at the end. And therefore, we'll minimize this risk. Going back to the previous question, I don't think that doing the same thing over and over is a great advantage. And in fact, iterative approaches do not do the same thing over and over. So they keep iterating, but they keep augmenting the amount of functionality in the system. They don't just repeat the same thing. As for improving planning, actually improving planning is not really a strength of these approaches because sometimes the number of iterations is hard to predict. So it's hard to do an actual planning when you're using an iterative approach. So finally, are iterative approaches good for accommodating evolving requirements? Most definitely. First, iterative approaches, and in particular the one that we're discussing, consider requirements incrementally, so they can better incorporate new requirements. So if there are new requirements, it's easier to accommodate them using an iterative approach. Second, these approaches realize a few requirements at a time, starting from the most risky ones, as we said. So any problem with those risky requirements will be discovered early, and suitable course corrections could be taken. So in case you still have doubts about iterative approaches, it might be worth to go back at the mini course number 1, lesson number 2, that discuss the life cycle models, because we talk about iterative approaches and their advantages and their characteristics there in some detail.